The Shindig Podcast. Yeah, you weren't expecting that, were you?
No,
Normally do all the whole welcome. But yeah, come back to the Shindig Podcast. My name is Tom Hutley.
And I'm Matt Pengelly.
I've done this in completely the wrong order, so I
I
completely forgot
can't
we done.
remember.
It's cool. It's all organic. Basically, this podcast, we get under the skin of the trials community. Any trials riders to the sport, worldwide, past and present. This is what this podcast is for, and we have an absolute legend from the UK scene today. His name is Mr. Danny Holroyd.
Mr. Danny Holroyd. Hello, sir.
How's
it going? Yeah, we're going back in time to a golden oldie, I would say. A nice golden oldie.
I think it's going to be quite an interesting episode. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to hear your name come up and think, "Yeah, man, Danny Holroyd. This was the guy." Myself especially, I'm fanboying at the moment. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. And hopefully there'll be a bunch of mountain bikers probably watching this. You know, that's sort of where some of us known you from. I was going to start with knowing that basically you're the first ever trials rider video I ever saw.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Story being going MBUK, the free DVD, and you're riding. Right. The first line is you rolling down that rail, falling off. You got a red tyre as well.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Obviously, there was stuff before that. That's just before our time, but
it just seems weird how we both got that same DVD.
So we're the same age.
You guys didn't even see the Trials Kings stuff originally. So
we're going to be completely honest. We were probably a little bit.
We have now. Obviously,
at
that point, no. At that point, we didn't know. I probably didn't learn about Trials Kings for another 10 years, weirdly.
And there's going to be lots of people shouting at the podcast in their cars going, "You don't know about the Trials Kings, da-da-da." But this is going to be a good podcast to kind of get under that. So where do we start? I suppose it's probably best off if we do start Trials Kings or... should we go with that? Let's tell everyone who the Trials Kings were, how did it all come about?
So, it's just a group of mates, really, that we all rode together. We all met at different times, and we just decided to start making videos and putting them on the internet. Like back then, it wasn't really something that people did. There were the odd clip here and there, but no sort of like edits or anything.
Yeah.
So there were myself, Adam Burns, Chris Swallow, James Ireland, Steve Howes, and Dave Finney. We were like the riders that were in the group. So yeah, we just, like I say, we just used to go out riding. It wasn't, anything. We didn't, organise it or anything. We just went out, rode, filmed, made videos, and that were it, really.
It's a great equation. I mean, you can't really go wrong. That's kind of how we do it. We don't plan it. You get out, stick the camera there. But what was that like to film and edit? Obviously, back then, like you said, there was no YouTube or sort of high-end phones.
And how'd that work with the group of you? Was there kind of like a lead instigator?
James Ireland was mainly the guy that did all the filming, and he did all the editing and everything. He was like the guy that did it all for us, really. So we literally just went out and rode. And then if he was riding, he'd just pass camera to someone. It wasn't, there were no sort of technical skills or anything, all gimbals, malarkey, setting things up and all that jazz. It's, we just literally, it was just us. We go out in the morning, ride all day till evening and just film whatever,
And it was always better. You noticed the best videos generally, the people filming are trials riders. We were talking about this the other day. Like you can get a videographer, like we were saying, was curious to see, did you have someone to film you and do that? Yeah. But what I can tell already that excelled the kind of the capturing of that is the best cameramen are usually people who ride their bikes themselves. Yeah.
Well, they know all the best angles, don't they? Where things look bigger, and all that sort of stuff.
And where the move's going to go as well, like some people,
Yeah, exactly. And that concept. And as well, I think what's quite hard that we can relate to is being a rider, but also being like, okay, we have to film everything. Or, oh no, I need to get on my bike now and ride. Oh no, I need to try and film. So it sounds like you guys were working together on that, being like, give us a camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's like now. Like, it just seems that everything's filmed now. You know, I don't think. Would you ever go out on a ride and people just ride, or is it always Instagram?
Because sometimes when we go out now, like it feels like when you're filming, you're kind of not really riding. You can't really be present with the riding because you're having to think about the filming side of it. I know some people do this really well. Like Dre just puts a tripod up and just captures, and people like Ali C. But sometimes it's nice to not have even just carrying stuff out with you. I just like going.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I guess we just had one camcorder and that were it. You know.
Yeah.
That's all you took out.
Now there's like 3 or 4 of us in the same group, got the same camera. Go, have you got your cam? Cool, just film this over here. Oh, you got yours? Yeah, come and do this over here. But we changed our concept, I think, now where people, you go out for the fun of it, but now we want to film absolutely everything. So it's more so of being like, we get there, there's the camera set up, leave it, because we need to just capture more trials. There needs to be more trials in the world.
So what was it like at that time? Like, what kind of years can people point back to was this happening?
God.
Oh, I'm testing.
20 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, probably about.
So early 2000s, right? Just start of the early 2000s.
About then, yeah. Very late 90s, early 2000s.
And what kind of was out? I mean, I'm trying to get a picture of it for ourselves because, like you say, it's very early days of the internet. There was nothing else out there. So to have this kind of groundbreaking thing, where did that all come from? What else was out there at the time?
Well, chain spotting was like the main one, wasn't it? Back in the day, that was like the one that when I started, I used to put on every day before I went out, you know, and that was VHS back then, like your tapes, fast forward it.
Oh, you had to rewind it, didn't you?
Yeah. I feel like an right old git here.
No, there was still VHS when we were around, Danny.
VHS, so
we grew up with VHS. It's okay.
Yeah.
It was just a bit easier with your DVDs because you could just put them back to the beginning.
Yeah, that's it. So
yeah,
chain spotting was pretty much the one. And then as we started doing Trials Kings videos, there was like Revolution and Evolve, you know, the ones with Ryan Leach and Lenotti in that, and they were the mint ones, weren't they? Like back then. You know, we never did like a film as such. It was just like at the start we just used to put clips up, you know, so we'd do, you know, move and upload 10, 15 clips to the website, you know, and people would just watch them, and then people were like, oh, will you do a video? So I can't remember which was first one. Might have been Toxicity or something like that, where James did like a 3-minute video. We just went to Leeds one day, just filmed it, and then he just came back, and he always made amazing videos, you know, like really well edited, you know, for back in the day.
Yeah.
Before
ahead of his time,
seen any videos like that, you know. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to use all the music that we used back then. You'd be getting copyright.
So all the thing is now,
everyone used to.
Well, we used to just bang up any video, put it on YouTube. It wouldn't get taken down or anything. Now there's a lot of
well, before that, it was obviously way pre-YouTube, wasn't it? And people started using Vimeo.
That was all before YouTube.
And that's the thing I find so amazing and astounding when we go back to some of these classics, because, like you say, you went from clips to actual like 3-minute videos, and I dread to think. I mean, the clips must have been a nightmare to upload as it was anyway, because there was nowhere really to actually put videos on the internet. And then,
I mean, Ireland took care of all that. Like his dad's credit card probably took a right rinsing, you know. And then I remember we rode for we started riding for Planet X, and it was at the bike show at the NEC, and we'd brought a video out, and they were like, "We'll host it, and we'll bring it out when you're at the bike show," and they brought out, and literally within 10 minutes, all the bandwidth they'd used, and like nobody could get on it. So then, like Dave was like, he said, it cost me an absolute fortune. I had to buy a shitload of bandwidth to, you know, so people could download it. Jeez. And it was just mad. Like back then, you know, it was so difficult for people.
The obstacles to go through then just to get a video. Of course, I didn't really think about it like that. That is crazy.
Like some people were like, it'd take them 2 days to download a video. Seriously. No, Danny Mac said that when they were on the Isle of Skye, you'd have to set it going and leave it for, 2 days for a video to download. Whereas now it's like instant on your phone. It's mad.
Download a gigabyte in a second.
Oh, just when you're streaming through, like, gap to front, it does that to rear, just scrolling through and oh, mad. So where did I'm really interested to know and curious to know how then you moved into being featured on MBUK. That was kind of my first exposure of you. You was in the DVDs that came through of MBUK. You'd always be in the write-ups and stuff, and then you eventually went and then had your own signature frame made as well.
Were you on your signature frame in that DVD?
No, because it was on a
there was
I
one.
couldn't remember.
Yeah, not at the start. I was on the first one. Oh, it was a few different. I think Ashton, because one of them videos, I actually made that video, and they just put it in their DVD.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it started. Martin Ashton gave us a call because he couldn't go on one of these trips. Basically, they did a trip every winter.
Yeah.
Took a load of riders away to a nice place, where it was sunny, and just got a load of photo shoots done in a week. And I got invited to one of them. In Spain.
Portugal. Oh, so there's one.
It was Spain. Spain was the first one.
Yeah.
Fuengirola. So it were me. I think I was the only trials rider, and then there was like dirt jumpers, downhillers. So I just went there. That was the one where I don't know if you've seen the harbour drop off that big wall.
I think I sort of remember it.
It was in the hype section. But yeah, it was just literally, it was that. Did the first week and got on really well with everyone. It was just mint. And then from then on, because I sort of got to know the photographers and Doddy at MBUK, just got invited on another one and then another one.
They're like, you're golden content for us, Danny. That was, well, Martin was the first person I'd met on a show, but that was when I saw your video, like, oh, wow.
Right.
Like that's... So I think for many of us, that triggered to sort of go forward with that. And then I remember, I wanted to ask how you got into your own sort of 24/7 frame. That's what it was called, wasn't it? Danny Holroyd 24/7.
Yeah.
And then I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was actually the first ever mod stock frame. So I mean, it actually had horizontal dropouts, not verticals. You didn't need a chain tensioner. Is that right?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Someone's gonna say it, but I think.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big things with it, wasn't it? That was the
it might have been because the reason why I didn't want on that bike, I didn't want a derailleur because.
So that makes sense because I believe it was the first trials bike. Sorry,
I didn't know
26.
Right.
Bike.
Yeah, I just said make it like that. Because I used to smash them up all the time. But I didn't realise that it was the first. No.
Well, someone might correct.
It was
me,
like Zoos one at the end, but I think, like I said, they did have dropouts, didn't they? With with a mech on.
Yeah, so it was like vertical, so you could move.
The 24/7 was just met Fraser, who was the guy that owned it. And he just said, "Do you want to ride for us, and we'll make you a bike?" So I was like, "Yeah," and then went from there. Really, so just designed a frame. Didn't really know what I were doing. Just come up with something.
So you personally, they said, "Right, do you want to?" What you designed it, or said, "I would like these kind of features."
Yeah, just
or whatever.
Basically, the geometry. Really, I mean, back then, sort of, I regret it now. If I'm going to be honest, how I designed it because. I sort of did street riding, and like used to love the pace and, bikes like that, the Ashton. Whereas this one was a bit different. But at the time I was like, I used to live with Craig Lee Scott. I don't know if you knew that.
We did not know that. Added to the story, right? Okay.
So I lived with him for a year in this like sort of student house. There were a lot of us that lived there. He went to uni at Huddersfield, so he came and lived with us. So I was riding with him like every day. And obviously, how Craig's riding is. Yeah. And I got get into, hooks and things like that. Was when I was designing it. So I was like, right, I'm going to make it like this so I can, do some bigger stuff. And in, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't have done.
So there's a bit of a TGS influence there, I think.
Yeah, really. So that's how that sort of bike came about.
Was that kind of like, because in your sort of like older stuff, like you definitely had like more of, it might just be because of the age of it as well, but like more streety kind of moves going on, like the X-ups and you know, the bunny hops and things like that. Is that what you're kind of alluding to, that you'd rather should have gone down that route more?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for real. I mean, if you look at all the Trials Kings videos, they're all, like big rolling gaps, ramp ups,
Yeah.
no sort of side ops and hooks and things like it. Rail gaps, all that sort of stuff is what I love doing and, always did. It was just that small moment in time when I were, influenced, and doing other things that I designed that bike. So
CLS.
It did start because it was just now I'm sort of trying to remember the shape. It did look a little bit like a big zoo, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's that.
Yeah,
That's kind of raw sort of.
Yeah,
like
it's all
frame.
that same sort. I mean, they were made in the same factory.
Of course. Yeah, most trials
they're
frames
all-
are nowadays.
You've
Yeah.
probably done the designers a massive favour, like that one. Okay, yeah, we'll just copy that one.
Yeah.
That one with it, this colour, this dropout, this this geometry.
Because one of my first ever stock riders I met was riding one of those bikes. So in my head, I was like, oh, this is, there's Martin Ashton and then there's Danny Holroyd. That's it. Like, that's who rides the trials. So it was I thought it was really small. And then you're realising, like, oh, wow. And then I learned about the Trials Kings, like you said, and it goes sort of into that. So
I was, I'm just kind of thinking, like, how much of, like, when you look back in time or, like, you watch, like, films that have, like, a time travel narrative, like, if Danny had designed that more streety, would street bikes come through much quicker, or did it accelerate TGS? Because I looked at that and thought, well, that's what the bikes need to be. You'll watch Craig Lee Scott. These were kind of my idols and stuff growing into it, and that kind of pushed the movement, really, I suppose.
So how often were you riding with Craig then? Because obviously you may have had an influence on each other's riding from the beginning.
Every day.
Every day,
He'd get back from uni, I'd get back from work. Right, let's go out. We're just out all the time. So yeah, we're just like streetwise because we lived pretty much the centre of Huddersfield. You could ride 30 seconds down the road and you'd be riding.
There's the key. Live with trials riders and you will excel.
Right, I mean, it helps for sure. Always having someone to go out with is best thing really for progression. I think that's why the Trials Kings sort of got good so quick, because there were so many of us pushing each other all the time. We didn't care about anyone else. Like, I want to beat you. Like, we'd do stuff like Adam would go up and do something like, shit, I've got to do that now. And, and everyone with the same sort of thing,
that's
always
healthy,
pushing each other.
I think, yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah, it is. For sure. Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, speaking of some oldies, he spoke about Planet X earlier. Should we have a look at these pictures a minute?
Yeah, we're going to put some photos on the screen. So this is for the benefit.
Let's do that one first. Okay, so I'm going to...
This is the benefit for those who are watching on our YouTube now, because we put videos up on our YouTube of these podcasts.
Yes. Let's share that one. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Danny? bit of an oldie there. I can see
Where is this?
Afro
Who's in the
creeping
photo? What were you riding?
That is in America at Sea Otter Classic. I think it's Laguna Seca Racetrack.
Wow.
Adam Burns is on the right, me on the left. Riding Planet X Zebdies. Yeah.
Look at the old flames on the helmet as well. It's like, when you...
helmets, Jesus Christ.
Because it's Planet X helmets.
That's the one thing, riding for Planet X, like, yeah, great, we get the bikes, but the clothes were horrendous.
Yeah, just look at that jersey as well for the listeners.
Skulls, flames, pictures of gimps on your T-shirts. You're just like, Christ almighty.
And what was that trip? Do you know what the year was at all? Or
oh my word. I'd say 2000 and early 2000, 2002, something like that.
Both on Planet X.
And then that was provided by Planet X as well then?
So that was, there was Planet X and then there was a Planet X in America as well. So they invited us over to do demos there for a week at the Sea Otter Classic. It was really cool. So do you know Tebow as well? Tebow was there because he rode for Planet X at the same time. So Tebow and Little Tebow were there doing the demos with us. Do you know Lance Trapp? Do you remember him? He was in.
No, these are names we clearly should.
I think he was in like the big videos over there. He was there as well, riding for them. So yeah, we went over, and then do you know Chris Smith, free rider, like dirt jump?
Name rings a bell.
The MBN. He does it
that
all.
must be what it is.
He went over as well. We had like this massive camper van. What are they called over there? UVs, is it?
RVs.
RVs, yeah, massive one of them. And yeah, we just went around in that. It was cool.
That sounds like the dream, really.
Well, it's epic,
Yeah,
right at a time of like, the turn of the 2000s. And
why is it? It was like decades ago that they were taking us, good riders to the States, and now they're like, everyone's in the UK. We just do. Do you know what I mean? It seems a lot of these stories are going to the States.
Yeah,
getting out there.
It was only that 1 week, but it was just awesome. Met Ryan Leach as well. There was like this sort of free riding park where you could go and practice and sort of doing some tricks, and then Ryan Leach just turns up and chatting to him. It's cool, like when you've seen him on the videos, you're like, whoa, and then you meet him there. It's mad. They're cool.
Yeah, no, I can, especially meeting those types of people and riding with them. That's where I feel that we excel a little bit more, because you just want to be.
Well, in terms of kind of like meeting heroes, we've got another
the next one here.
Photo here. That's the same photo.
Yeah.
The one
I thought I clicked it.
Yeah, and then
there we go.
That's the bike battle, isn't it?
Look at. So it's funny because in the other one you got curly hair, Danny. It looks like you straightened your hair in this one.
Oh yeah. I used to do. Yeah.
Oh right. But
the same helmet, same Planet X bike and pieces, but you're there with a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
Talk us through what's going on here.
That's Red Bull Bike Battle in Nottingham. So that was like a proper mint street course, which was set up in the city centre. Then a load of riders, from all around the world come over, and you just did like a freestyle run, and you got judged. It's proper good competition. I didn't crack it, but it was good.
What are you guys actually? So I know you've got sort of Martin sat on his way he designed the seat as well. What did he say to us? I like to sit on the seat and put my arms on the handlebars. And that's literally what he's doing.
Be like the moto trialer.
Yeah. You guys are sort of sat admiring someone do another trick of some sorts by the looks of it.
Well, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Having a good old chin wag.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So at this point, was you already quite friendly with Martin then? Because obviously you then went on to him.
Yeah, I knew him. I don't think I'd really been riding with him much back then. But then when I think that was the point then when I decided to move to Ashton and started riding for Martin, and then obviously we started doing demos and things with him as well. And that was awesome. That because obviously Martin was the guy. I seen him ride at bike show in Earls Court. Can't remember when that was, but that was literally how I got into it. Seeing the Martins ride at a bike show, and I was just
like, how it's the same for that's how I started.
I was absolutely mind blown. I just couldn't believe what they were doing on a bike, and all like I want to do that.
Yeah,
and it literally from seeing him that time. That's how
and
it
he
started.
thought, this is my out. I can stop wearing flame shirts and helmets.
Exactly.
Just get to the ass. And
please, Martin, save me from the Planet X.
And Martin Ashton is the name, his own bike brand after his name, and obviously, and personally, I think the bikes looked cooler than the Planet X's.
I still think they're the coolest bike that was ever made. Like,
in terms of actual trials bike, it's like the most legitimate looking. The word trials rather than just.
Yeah. Oh, they were proper nice, really good bikes to ride. I love mine.
People still riding, and like now they're collectibles. I don't know if you've seen some riders, but like there's a guy Wayne Warren. He's got like a full on collection of like 6 or 7.
Wow.
Ashtons that he's.
Well, I've seen quite a few knocking about, and they do look good.
Have you still got any of them or any bikes at all for the moment then, Danny?
I've still got my 24/7, yeah. Still got
nice. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. So what, was that the first one? Or
That's the one, the production one that they made, yeah. Yeah, so I've still got that. It's pretty much as it come, apart from my disc brake, which seized up because it hasn't been used for that long.
And that's still intact, so it's not broken or cracked or anything, because it's
almost pristine, yes. I mean, I sort of had it, and when that came, I sort of stopped riding from that time on, really.
What was
Yeah.
that was going to be one of the questions. What kind of led you into that, where you thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to ride as much, and obviously life took over. What was
Yeah,
that tipping point?
it was just. I mean, back then, all I wanted to do was ride my bike and and earn a living from it. But it was just almost impossible back then, to make any money from it,
or at least a decent amount to live off,
to live off.
comfortably.
Yeah, that was it. I was a manager at Halfords, so it was like I was doing that as a full-time job. Met my wife, had a kid, and then it was just like it just rode less and less and less, and life just takes over, doesn't it? Priorities change, and I just didn't ride as much, and that was pretty much it.
Life, that's what happened. Are you still get out and about nowadays, Danny, on the bike with the mountain
still
bike?
watch other
Well,
riders and things?
Start of lockdown, I got back into it, and I was like, this is mint. I forgot how much I love this. I had a setup in garden, I had loads of pallets and stuff, but then absolutely ruined my back and literally could barely walk. And then since then, I've sort of slowly recovered and not got back on, but I definitely do want to ride, trials more.
Man, I think
for sure.
It'd be amazing to see you back on a bike. I know lots of people, the most question they asked is, will we see you on a trials bike again? Like people that I was asking.
Yeah, definitely.
Which would be nice. I'll plug it in.
I would like a different bike though, because I don't think that does my body any favors. Like hunched over on that. I'd like a proper street bike.
Yeah, something a little bit more comfortable. Is that what you would ride now? Then have you seen the modern style trials bikes? What sort of bike do you think you'd get?
I'd have been inspired. I think.
Yeah.
Hex, something like that.
I could see you on one of those, Danny. Doing just yesterday I watched the Portugal video again just to get my in mode in the Danny. Was it in Portugal, wasn't it? It was with the white. Some people might not know what we're talking about. We'll have to put a link to that video.
It'll be on YouTube, but
it is on YouTube. Like amazing video, and just watching the reactions of the old ladies and stuff going on.
Old dears are like, just watch out, love.
I remember at the end just watching you doing the squeakers, and I'm just like, oh my god, that just blew my mind. I'd never seen anyone do a squeaker before.
That was the first time I saw one as well.
I still want to do them, but I've got a front Magura now, so every time I'm like, let's do it. No.
Yeah.
You can still do it. Them in them. Do you know what? That's when I seen the Martins do that show. There were some other guys doing tricks on like this balcony, and someone did that, and I was just like, wow, that is unbelievable. And that it's probably like yourself. You see stuff like that, which is actually quite easy, but it just looks mad, doesn't it? People doing stuff like that.
Backwards on the front wheel, but he's then pedaling it backwards. It's like, oh yes. It's even now.
Have you seen that where you use 2 feet? So you alternate your feet.
Have you got to like be sat on it to do that? Is that or do you you switch between pedals then?
Yeah, you don't have the pedals, your feet on the pedals.
No, he's on about both feet at the same time over the wheel.
Oh,
like
okay,
this,
yeah. You supposed to
alternate your feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not something I've even tried to do. I feel like now I actually want to try it.
I can do it on the mods that you just basically put the frame up your ass, which isn't as comfortable, obviously. Yeah. But then you just put like one foot in front of the other, and just do like that.
Did you always ride a 26-inch then? Did you ever have a go on a 20? No.
Couldn't get on with them. Like the lads rode, like Ireland had 20-inch, and ours moved over to 20-inch as well. But the rest of us were all 26. No, I couldn't ride one. Find it strange.
Is that kind of route of actually like, oh, this is a mountain bike that's been modified slightly, ever so slightly, and you were just sort of carrying on with that?
Yeah, it's just literally started off on a crappy Claude Butler mountain bike, and painted it red and painted Cannondale on it. All that sort of stuff.
Right, got Ashton to sign it as well.
But back then, trials bikes, apart from like the original Montes, 26s just didn't exist. Even like the Martins bikes, you couldn't buy them, could you? I think like Horse's Giant was probably one of the first trials bikes that actually you could buy. It was just buy something that's small, and try and make it into a trials bike.
And they were still like these huge A-frames then, because the Planet X is like, you know, massive seat tubes and so on with all these big frames. And it wasn't until like Ashton was like, hang on a minute, we're going to shrink this sizing down.
You think
give you all that space.
To me, that I thought the Planet X's and that were small. Like the Pace was probably my favourite ever bike. Absolutely loved it. But if you look at it, it is quite a big frame.
I think it's because now we would consider them big. So back then they were small.
Compared to now, they're just crazy, aren't they? Just stick on wheels, isn't it?
Well, this is it. Some frames are just two tubes together. There's not even one.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things when I first got the trials. I didn't actually know of it, so I got a jump bike. I remember getting like a Saracen from Halfords, and it was like, but the aesthetic was that the seat was lower than the rear tire. That was like, well, in my mind, that's what I wanted. And I remember getting a jump bike in a really small frame. I'm like, it's sort of low enough. Like,
as long as the tire.
Even things like bash guards, you couldn't buy a bash guard. You had to like snap all teeth off your outer chainring and file it down. Stuff like that. And then like Burns went to some fabricator and got someone to make one for him, and it's just stuff like that weren't available, and you were just snapping bikes every week.
Now, seeing people go on a bash is like, oh, that's disgusting. You can't do that. Whereas I used to deliberately go to bash. That was the thing. You'd go up to bash.
I listened to some of your podcasts and people were saying no one ever does it anymore, and it's like, blooming hell, that's what comps were all BIU back then. They weren't any UCI. The world ones, so everybody used to do it back then. That was the thing done in comps.
Yeah, that excuse to look after your bike, I suppose, and actually land on wheels. Yeah. It does look better. Don't get me wrong, landing on a bash can be a bit.
But it was always good to see people get a massive stuff because they could use a bash or a pedal. Like, there's a lack of that now.
Oh, I think back then you couldn't, so that's how they were getting up it.
Yeah. So if you go riding places now, can you tell where people have rid? Because there's like massive smashes out. So like around our local village, you could go around and do like history tour. Oh, look there. All the bash marks there. It's mad.
You see this crumble here, you can see the trials riders leaving their mark along the walls. There is actually, because if you go near up, there's a wall. He's just pulled it up now. There's a wall near our house, like round the corner. Just keep going past it, and it's if anyone is a trials rider.
Well, that was fresh because I don't think there's
Matt
ever
and
been...
Tom live near here. It's bashed up.
But I do like that when you could always look at bashed up walls. Like even when I was starting, I looked at the bash walls. I'm like, oh, that's why they're rounded like that, because people have been bashing away at them. And
neighbours can you stop jumping up my wall, please? Because you're chipping all my stonework.
Now we use that excuse being like, it's rubber. We're not hitting that. What are you on about? We're not
UCI.
UCI riders now, no BIU. And obviously they don't understand.
But I do like it's kind of like archaeology or like going back in time with trials riders that were previously there,
Yeah. Huddersfield's full of them. Smashed up walls.
Classic, man. You this is another one I wanted to get to the bottom to. Obviously, you said that you was obviously manager at Halfords. Is it you used to be part of Team Halfords as well?
No, I wasn't. No,
just tell me that.
They missed an opportunity there, didn't they?
Well, I was already on every other team by the sound of it.
Did they have a trials team?
I think it was just more like an internal memo that they just had, like, oh, this is what some other employees
I know. I used
doing.
to work with. My deputy manager used to be Ben Manuel, who's like a really famous BMX rider, and he did some stuff with him at that time, but he used to do skate parks and dirt jumping,
right,
and that sort of stuff. But I never got involved with them. Like I said, I was riding for Martin at that point. So,
fair play. Yeah. Right, I think this is probably the time of the episode where we get into our quick fire round.
We'll actually try and be reasonably good time with it too. Terrible.
So if anyone hasn't listened to the podcast before, this is where we just get a nice free questions out to our guests, kind of get a bit of an insight as to who they are
sometimes
as a rider.
4, sometimes 5, however we feel.
So Danny, if you could go anywhere on your trials bike, past or present, if we could put you anywhere in the world, where would you love to ride? Where's Mecca for you?
Leeds. Well, it sounds it could go anywhere. Leeds is probably my favourite street spot. It's
Right.
just mega. There's loads of stuff there.
I still haven't been in there, but I have heard, many good things. I know some of the spots are gone, but I know there's like famous drop gap. I don't know if that's still there.
Yeah, it's just everything like big gaps. Like from what I used to, used to ride like big gaps, rail drops, all that sort of stuff. There's loads of cool stuff. Big bankings up by the uni. There's loads of cool stuff around there.
Yeah.
It's just that you could go out for a day, set off in the morning, and ride all day and go to loads of different spots. So I think that's probably one of my favourite spots.
So that's the first City of Leeds. Cool, added to the list.
Yeah.
And so when you're in Leeds, what is your move? Like, what just feels so good that you could just do again and again and again?
I used to love like rolling gaps, like hammering it as fast as you can and jump as far as you can and just pin it on back wheel.
That's actually another good one. We haven't had that one yet, actually. That is quite satisfying. Only you've recently sort of, I've delved into that world, and yes, very satisfying move.
Yeah. But we're talking about like Danny's probably doing like real rolling gaps
yeah.
where it's so much speed and it's just bunny hops. There's no pedal involved other than the run up. Presumably it's just pull up. Yeah.
Yeah, there was someone that I used to do onto this bench. It was literally riding as fast as I possibly could. I was hitting it so fast that I was just flying over handlebars. Like they're the sort of like gaps that I used to love doing. But
yeah.
Oh
no, good shout. So you're doing your massive rolling gap in Leeds there in the city centre.
Who would you want to be riding with? Who gets you pumped up to ride? Or it could be someone past or
past or present.
Well, I always used to like have really good riding sessions with Burns. Like Adam Burns still is my best mate. So we used to always go out and like really push each other. And I also really enjoy riding with Chris Smith, but he's not a trials rider, but he used to go down to his in Somerset and we just used to have a right good time, street riding, skate parks. Used to go to Bristol. Oh no, Bristol's another good spot.
Yeah, we love Bristol, mate. Yeah, we do.
I had some really good times there. But yeah, Chris Smith I met him on the first MBUK trip. We just got on really well, and he's really cool to ride with, just a good laugh and a good scene down there as well. Loads of, not so much trials, but street scene, skate park scene.
I mean, actually now the Southwest is very good for trials. There's a pretty good team, the Pasty Land crew is what they're called. And there's a good 10 of them that regularly ride. So every time I go to the Southwest, I take my bike and I ride. So I'd say that it's a pretty good scene down that way.
Saying that, there was a great scene in Bristol back then. But like same with me going riding with Chris in like Frome because it weren't quite Bristol. But yeah, the Bristol scene back then was still really good. There was what was it now? Is it Glass Eye Trials?
Yes, Glass Eye Trials. Nick Goddard, who was
Nick Goddard, and all those guys. They put out some really good videos, didn't they?
We were with most of them this weekend, just gone actually. Jack Meek was there, Nick Goddard, and a few of the older riders and the golden oldies. There's a bunch of them now, but you're all coming back to the scene, or at least getting known,
Cool.
Nice. So we're in Leeds with Chris. You've got your huge rolling gap. There is one thing that's obviously important on this podcast is we need to find out, do you remember what your worst shindig was? One of these red gashes on your leg.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Is it still scarred? Is it still there?
Oh, yeah, my shins are right mess. Anglesey, whereas an Anglesey dropping off a roof. It weren't a massive roof, like 7-8 foot. And I had fresh pins on DMR V12s, but they weren't the standard pins. They were Terra pins.
I know what Terra. They're double the size.
And why would you do that?
12 pins.
Idiot would put them on your pedals. So and I dropped off this roof and slipped and just ripped my shins to bits. I was on the floor in agony, and Burns were just taking photos of me laughing.
I mean, it's funny now because that's part of it. I think if you get a shindig, people were like, "Oh, that's nasty." Quickly take a picture and send it to the shindig media.
That's kind of all you can really
down to the bone, not good.
That's kind of all you can really do with it. I've just run around to kind of just hop it off, and then you just laugh about it.
Yeah, bouncing about, aren't you?
So you weren't one to wear shin pads then?
No.
No, okay.
No.
It's just
Good.
straight up like, nah, I'm not really a fan. I mean,
Yeah.
even Hans was
But
pretty
saying
clear.
that, you only really sort of do that early on, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, that's what we always say. Someone new to trials to build their confidence. I'm like, come on, you can wear shin pads. Don't be embarrassed just because I'm here.
Yeah. But you don't shin it so much. The better you get, do you? Or do you? I don't know. I didn't really.
No, that's true. No, I would. Oh God, we talk about shinning so much. I like to think that that's true. The better you get, you generally kind of know what to expect, or I don't want to jinx it.
Well, I found my worst one was when I changed my shoes and pedals. Once they got really grippier, and then it was basically like, I suppose there's a tolerance of how much your foot would slip before on crap pedals, and then once I got grippier ones, I then got a worse one because I think the grip held till the very last minute until it could not hold anymore, and then it went, and then
all or nothing. Basically.
Yeah, all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of? You already did say you're a DMR. I had DMR pedals. V12s was so you're a platform pedal kind of guy.
Yeah,
were you just like riding with skate shoes, or was it like a special?
just
It's like the
standard.
most because back then you didn't really have riding shoes, did you?
No. I suppose you got like 510s and stuff now, aren't you? Like the.
Well, yeah, there's a few options.
But then the soles are too stiff, aren't they? You know, I used to ride in Adidas Campus a lot because the soles were just like so flexible.
They are to begin with. I'll give you that because I think I've said it on the podcast before. When I get a brand new set of 510s, I put them in the microwave because it softens the soles up.
Yeah.
It really does. So I can sort of understand that, but it's weird how there were skate shoes, sort of late 90s, early 2000s, but like riding shoes just weren't a thing till now. I feel like most
you
people
do forget. I'm just all of this piecing together just how gnarly trials riding would have been at like the early 2000s because none of the stuff that we have now was available. So you're thinking of like the shoes, the bikes. I mean, we haven't even talked about brake pads. Like I'm sure there was like probably hardly any choices in terms of brake pads.
Well, everyone runs ground rims. Did you have smooth rims?
Do we have what? Sorry.
Smooth rims. Were you running like smooth?
At the start, we were. Yeah. We used to use V brakes more than like hydraulics. But we used to run smooth rims with tar. So we used to like have a block of tar with us and tar your rear rim up. That was the most effective by miles. And then as things went on, then we changed to like Magura rim brakes with a grind on. But I used to use discs on the pace because it was disc only, and you might as well not add any because they were absolutely crap. It did not work. So it was just like brakeless riding. They were that bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I think that's created so much like better riders when they've just had nothing. I think even some of the best riders now can get on a bike without any decent brakes and still ride it like it's.
Yeah. I mean, we did rely heavily on, a good back brake because we used to do a lot of like drop gaps, onto rails and stuff like that. That's why we used the tar because it was the best thing.
I guess the progression there was people started using tar on ground rims, but sort of in the later 2010s onwards. And the new thing now is violin rosin, not tar. Yeah. This is what we're getting on now. This is what I'm saying. The evolution. It doesn't last quite as long, but it's definitely cleaner for the rim because it's not black.
But you don't get as much as a horrible stick that you do with tar.
Yeah. So
if you've got a worn down grind
pocket as well when it sticks to your pocket on the inside.
That's why now when you buy it, it comes in like a little proper case.
Yeah.
And it's like violin.
Boss you like that, right?
It's so funny, but it's just interesting to see how the
I don't know if
system.
it works on a smooth rim or if it is as effective on a smooth rim that rosin. Yeah, I think it's good for like worn down ground rims because it kind of feels it and it just gives you a nice bite without the stickiness somehow, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't last quite as long, but just in today's world, Danny, that's what we're using. That people are still using bits of tar, but violin rosin.
Just want to make some better brakes, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's as if like ground rims and the brake pads they've brought out now are pretty gnarly. But I would say in trials I've been using the same brake pads on the back for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
There isn't really a lot of options.
Coos pads. That's it.
They
Really.
just found that pad. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
I'm surprised why there was always so many different pad compounds. Like, surely there's just one pad.
Well, yeah, I mean, like back then, like I think they did bring some out plasmatic ones. And
yes, they were good.
And you manual down a hill and they're gone. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. There, I've done that before. Like,
no, they were yellow, weren't they? The yellow ones, like or yellow or white.
They were red, the ones at the start, like the ones that I used at the start. And then Cox brought some out, and they were really good. They were like a brown coloured ones.
Cox Browns, because they were like all weather ones
for ages, and they were the ones that I used for quite a long time.
And there's so many small companies that brought out compounds.
I've got them on my bike now, actually.
Still, you've probably got some proper, like, some golden parts on your bike. They might have to get you to take some pictures, Danny. Are you in some of the Facebook groups? There's one called 90s Trials till the present day.
I'm on Instagram, but not on Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram there's Retro Bike Trial as well, which does.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, our friend Adrian runs that one, so you might have to get him some pictures and send it to him. I think he'd really quite enjoy that.
Either that or he'd bite your arm off and probably buy it all off you.
So, where are you?
It's a bit of a collector for it all.
Well,
so,
you can have it, buy it, and then I can buy me inspired, can't I?
There you go.
Well, there we go.
And then you'll be back on a trials bike.
Yeah. That's a double win.
There we go. Deal sorted.
Yeah, and I know you said you might get on a bike soon. Are we likely maybe to see you, like you said, if you get Hex? Are we going to see you on a bike in the future, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's what there's some confidence there. There is also, I'll plug it now, there is also a really big sort of reunion ride happening in August. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah, John Shrewsbury keeps saying, get your ticket.
Right. Oh, well, then we can thank John Shrewsbury. We'll thank him for those pictures, by the way. He and sort of pointing us in the right direction. He's one of our good ambassadors that helps me gain some of these guests because he's got the knowledge and
I've had some good times with John riding,
So, I mean...
we're doing that. We're doing, on the Sunday, we're doing the...
So, Sunday is the big reunion ride at Charlie's, but we are going to aim for the Saturday, the day before, will be a big London ride. So, we're going to get a bunch of us in London. So, giving people two opportunities.
Street and natural.
You know, some... People have families, they might be able to get the Saturday off and not the Sunday and so on and so forth. Luckily, me and Tom don't have lives other than this, so we'll try and do both days.
But that invitation's open for everyone.
Yeah, it is. That's us plugging it now. And please, you can get tickets for the reunion ride on the FXN website. If you'd like to come to the London ride, just message the Shindig boys and we'll tell you where to meet. It's totally free. Just come and meet us and hang out. Even if you're not riding, I'm sure there'll be people there to come and film. I'd love a day off of the camera and just the bike would be really nice.
Good stuff.
So I suppose to wrap this up then, Danny, who in the future would you love to see on the Shindig podcast? Whether it's someone that people need to hear from or someone you want to hear from?
I reckon Harsey would be good. For sure. Again, he's one of the guys that got me into it, and he's a good laugh as well. Yeah. So I think he'd be good. And I think like Ryan Leach, Lenowski, something like that. You know, like the American side.
Yeah.
I don't really know many American ones now. Is there many decent ones about now?
Well, not I suppose that aren't as big a name. I know a few American riders now because of the podcast. In fact, they've reached out to us being like, "Oh, this is what we've needed." But no one as big as Ryan Leach, or obviously Hans Ray, who everyone would have heard by now a week ago or so. But definitely another world we'd like to delve in. Like you said, they took you to America, and I'm just so surprised Trials didn't get that much.
I think they'd be good to hear from. From their side. But Harsey would be good for sure.
Sweet. Well, fingers crossed we'll be getting on very soon.
Yeah, I think so. And finally, the one I find, have you got a message for everyone out there in the trials world that may have been following you all those years ago?
Get
out and ride your bike.
I don't know. Well, a bit weird that. No, I don't know. I guess... thanks for supporting us.
That's what I would say. I could just say a nice thank. We'll say thank you then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Danny,
man, for
if
me,
you're not there, I'll say thank you on for us for doing that. You, again, on a personal level to us, I'm sure there are other people there who it resonates with similarly, but just that clip of you and that red tire coming down the rail resonates with me because that feels like
managing down that rail.
The dropout coming down.
Yeah, it's grinding down on the dropout. Yeah.
It's just like that. That's like a start of my life. It sounds so dramatic, but it really did. It really did make me realise that, cool, you can do that sort of stuff on a bike. So thank you on behalf of most of the trials community.
Right, one thing, what needs to happen is speed trials needs to come back.
Speed trials.
I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was just the best thing. Like
it's probably more likely to get a shindig on a competition like that as well, aren't you? Because it's very quick and fast and you fall off more.
Momentum.
Good, very good point there, Danny. That was a good message for the rest of the world because it hasn't been... We used to do it in the competitions. We used to do it at Radfest, which is the bike festival, which hasn't happened a couple of times. So, well said. Bring back the speed trials.
Like, one-on-one, set course, fastest wins.
They're always, I think a bit more engaging as well for average spectators.
Like when I used to do, this is before I sort of rode for MBUK, when they did the bike show at the NEC.
Yeah.
They did that a couple of years and they did UK versus rest of the world. And it was just absolutely mega. You've never seen like the crowd go as mental as what they did. Seeing the guys like racing these courses, like tag team, it's so good.
Do you know what? I can see it, the atmosphere.
I'll never forget it, like how mental people went for it.
Yeah. Because I guess it'd be constant screaming as they're cycling instead of just, yay, they made it up the obstacle. It's like, go.
They can appreciate it's a race. It's that person versus that person.
Still mad stuff, mad stuff going over courses, but, it's a lot more interactive for, people watching.
Noted, Danny. I think we'll be seeing that in the future. I'll get Andre Burton back on it as well. He's got some events he's planning, so I'm sure he'll come up with some of them.
Awesome.
Come down and have a go then if you set that up.
Yeah,
absolutely, Danny. Yeah, well, we
hope
hope
to speed trials.
Yeah, and hopefully we might maybe see you at the reunion ride at the Bike Trial Academy. But we'll see, mate. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time, man.
Yeah.
Where is it all? Thanks for having us.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Never thought we'd ever be sat down having this conversation when I first watched that DVD. That's crazy to think. I love it. Thank you so much.
Full circle.
Danny.
Catch out on our podcast. They're released every single week on your favourite podcast platform of choice. Also, if you do like the videos of these podcasts, please do check out the Shindig podcast on YouTube. It's a separate channel from our normal Shindig Media because Shindig Media basically to do with the algorithm.
Yeah.
Street videos have their own YouTube page and podcasts have their own. So, mate, if you're not already subscribed to that, do check it out. You can find all our previous podcasts over there too. And check out shindigmedia.com if you want any merch. Check out on back episodes, whatever. It's all there at your perusal. Thank you once again for tuning in. We'll see you all again next time.
Yes, thank you, guys. We've been the Shindig podcast. That's been Danny Holroyd. Thank you, mate. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.